Hey there! Happy Groundhog's Day!
I'm Cassidy Cash, that's Shakespeare Girl, and this week we're asking the question, did Shakespeare celebrate Groundhog's Day?
Did you know that Shakespeare celebrated Groundhog's Day? Well, okay, not exactly Groundhog's Day because he didn't call it that, but every February 2nd in the 17th century, they celebrated this day as a holiday called Candlemas. And Shakespeare appeared at court several times to present a play in celebration of this holiday. But what you may not know is that Candlemas is where Groundhog's Day comes from. Early American settlers that traveled over from England to North America in the 1600s brought with them the tradition of celebrating Candlemas. It was a culmination of the Christmas holidays celebrated on February 2nd, and it involved celebrating purity and renewal, rebirth, and the cycle of the seasons. It was celebrated with a special animal. Different countries and different cultures had different kinds of animals, sometimes a goat, sometimes other kinds of animals. Obviously, we've developed it into the groundhog, but in Shakespeare's time, they actually used a bear. The tradition of Candlemas was that a bear would emerge from his cave, and if he emerged during a thunderstorm, then there was going to be a short winter, but if he emerged and it was fine weather, well, then spring was going to be delayed and winter would last a little bit longer. We see this tradition appear in Shakespeare's plays. When he presented the play A Winter's Tale, there's a famous stage direction included where it says Antigonus exits pursued by a bear. Now that seems really random to modern readers because you look at A Winter's Tale and you're like, why in the world is he being chased by a bear in the middle of this play? That's ridiculous. Well, the reason is because it's A Winter's Tale, and it's set during the time of Candlemas, which featured a bear which emerged from its cage not only to predict the continuation of winter, but also to devour evil men. And so being exited, pursued by a bear, meant that Shakespeare was making the statement that Antigonus was an evil man. It was an intentional part of the play, and the play itself is set during the celebration of this holiday. So when you study 17th century England and you understand what was going on at the time, it makes a otherwise random appearance of a bear make sense. And in this case, it also ties to our modern day Groundhog Day celebrations. The Candlemas celebration got its start. The reason we say Groundhog's Day comes from Candlemas is because Groundhog's Day was tied to Candlemas, which was tied to earlier celebrations from ancient Roman times. In 494 BC, there was a pope that decided the popular Roman celebrations of Lupercalia, now please forgive me if I pronounce that wrong, but it's spelled Lupercalia, and it included celebrations from a Roman celebration called Februalia, which is where we get the name of the month of February and why we celebrate this on February 2nd. So all of that was tied into the Lupercalia celebrations, which were popular and continue to be popular in Rome after the advent of Christianity. And so this celebration was popular, but it was pagan, and they were being Christian now. And so the Pope came in and said, okay, we're not going to celebrate Lupercalia anymore, but we are going to celebrate the Feast of the Purification of the Virgin Mary, and it became popularly known as Candlemas. This was the celebration that was popular in the 1600s in England, and that the colonists, they weren't colonists yet, but the exiting Englanders who came over here and settled in North America, they brought this tradition with them, and so we've been celebrating it here in the United States for about, I think they said Puxatawny Phil has been coming out to do his thing for the last 132 years. But the tradition of an animal emerging from a cave to predict the coming of spring goes all the way back to ancient Roman times and was celebrated by Shakespeare. So have fun this Groundhog's Day, celebrating February 2nd and the coming of spring, and know that Shakespeare celebrated a similar holiday too. If you would like to know more about how Shakespeare is connected to Groundhog's Day, I put a beginner's guide together for you, and it's linked below this video. So this video has a link down below. I think it's down here somewhere. Anyway, you can look, the link is down there. It'll take you over to the blog at cassidycash.com, and you can download that guide and learn even more.
If you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe to join us every week. I ask a Did Shakespeare question and offer answers just like the video you watched today. When you hit like and subscribe, it helps information about Shakespeare reach more people who want to learn about the bard in 17th century England. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.